Want to travel somewhere amazing before everyone else discovers it? In this episode, we're uncovering hidden gems in 2025, places full of culture, nature, and authentic experiences that are still blissfully under the radar. Pack your curiosity and let's go. This podcast is for inspiration and entertainment purposes only. Travel recommendations are based on personal opinions and publicly available information at the time of recording. Always check current safety guidelines, visa requirements, and travel advisories before booking your trip. Listeners are responsible for their own travel decisions. Hello beautiful friends and welcome back to Pure Bliss Living. I'm your host Arianna and today we are kicking off part 1 of two-part series all about underrated travel destinations for 2025. The hidden gems that are still under the radar, authentic and breathtakingly beautiful, where you can experience the real magic before the crowds arrive. When I say underrated, I don't just mean less famous. I mean places where visitor numbers are still manageable, local culture hasn't been diluted, infrastructure is functional but not overwhelming, and the experience feels genuine and soulful. These are destinations where slow travel, sustainability, and mindful exploration can truly shine, where you can walk through a market, paddle across a lake, or hike a mountain trail and feel like the only person in the world for a moment. And when I say before everyone else, I mean right now is the sweet spot. The moment when these places are accessible, comfortable enough to visit, yet still quietly magical. In today's first episode of two-part series, we'll explore 5 incredible destinations from the vibrant colors, flavors, living traditions of Oaxaca, Mexico, to the Himalayan-filled medieval charm of Georgia, the lush healing islands of the Azores, the fairy tale lakes and green sustainability of Slovenia, and the untouched Adriatic coastline of Albania. For each place, I'll walk you through why it's special, when to go, what to expect, how to travel responsibly, and how to truly immerse yourself in the local culture and environment before these gems are discovered by the masses. So grab your travel journal, your sense of wonder, and maybe a cup of tea because we're embarking on part 1 of a 2-part journey to hidden treasures that are still secrets, but not for long. Let's start exploring. Oaxaca is the kind of a place that wraps itself around you like a handmade blanket. Warm, textured, and full of meaning. While Mexico as a whole is no secret, Oaxaca is still beautifully under the radar compared to Tulum or Cancun, mostly because it doesn't market itself as a beach and resort scape. Instead, it draws you in with heritage, Zapotec and Mixtec traditions, hand-woven textiles, ancient ruins, moiled sauces with 30 ingredients, street parades that feel like spontaneous carnivals, and chocolate so rich it tastes like memory. What makes Oaxaca especially powerful in 2025 in its alignment with slow, meaningful travel. This is not a place you rush through, it's a place you absorb. Tourism here is growing, especially thanks to digital nomads and food lovers, but it's still calm enough that local life hasn't been drowned out by Instagram culture. You'll find boutique guest houses instead of mega resorts, family-owned farms instead of tourist traps, and markets where artisans sell what they actually use in their own homes. Infrastructure-wise, it's comfortably developed. Direct flights from major US cities, walkable historic districts, affordable Airbnbs, and luxury stays alike. But it still runs at a human rhythm. The best time to visit is from October to February, when the air is cool and clear, and Day of the Dead celebrations transform the city into a moving poem of candles and marigolds. But even off-season, there is magic in the everyday. Locals chatting on plaza benches, weavers dyeing yarn with crushed insects that turn fuchsia, children practicing traditional dances in public squares. What I love most is how proudly Oaxacans defend their identity. They welcome respectful visitors with open arms, but they are firm in preserving their food, their language, their rituals. Tourism hasn't diluted the culture, it has spotlighted it, and that's the key difference between an underrated destination and an overrun one. Oaxaca isn't bending for visitors. Visitors are bending toward Oaxaca. That's how you know it's still in its golden window. It's incredibly affordable. Meals for under $10, handcrafted goods at fair trade prices, cooking classes and craft tours that go directly to locals. The only real challenge is self-control, because you will want to bring back entire suitcases of pottery, rocks, spices, and cacao. If you go with reverence. Learn a few phrases in Spanish. Ask before taking photos. Support artisans directly and travel with curiosity instead of consumption. If you do that, Oaxaca will mark you forever. Let's move to a destination that feels like a secret whispered between mountains. Georgia, the country tucked between Europe and Asia, where Orthodox churches cling to cliffsides, vineyards stretch older than recorded history, and locals will not let you live without feeding you like family. Georgia is widely underrated, not because it lacks beauty, but because its identity doesn't fit neatly into one travel stereotype. It's not fully European, not fully Middle Eastern, not fully Asian. It's purely Georgian, and that makes it unforgettable. In 2025, it's becoming more accessible thanks to the new budget airline routes from Europe and the Middle East, visa rules for long stays, and the booming remote worker scene in Tbilisi. But despite that, it's still beautifully uncrowded. You can wander through mountain villages, ancient cave monasteries, or sulfur bathhouses without waiting in line behind 200 tourists taking selfies. What sets Georgia apart is its hospitality culture, known as supra, a traditional feast where strangers instantly become family. This isn't curated tourism. This is deep, soulful connection when your driver becomes your guide, your guest house owner becomes your storyteller, and your dinner host becomes your therapist. Compared to mainstream alpine or wine regions like Switzerland or Italy, Georgia offers the same cinematic landscapes at a fraction of the price. We're talking $5 meals, $20 guest houses, $2 metro rides, and free-flowing wine that's been fermented underground in clay pots since before Jesus was born. Infrastructure is improving fast. Tbilisi now has trendy cafes, co-working spaces, boutique hotels, even electronic music clubs in abandoned factories, attracting artists and backpackers alike. Meanwhile, rural areas maintain their raw, untouched charm with villages accessible by shared van, horseback trails, or scenic drivers through jaw-dropping mountain passes. The balance is delicate. Development is arriving, but culture still leads. The best time to go? Late spring, May and June, or early fall, September, October. Perfect weather, harvest festivals, and fewer crowds. Summer bring hikers, where snow-capped peaks rise like mythic guardians over stone watchtowers built to defend ancient clans. Winter is unrated for skiing. The slopes of Gudari and Mestia rival the Alps without the alpine price tag. Locals are proud but protective of their homeland. Tourism is welcomed, as long as it doesn't strip away what makes Georgia sacred. Travelers should dress modestly in churches, avoid loud disrespect in quiet villages, and support family-run guest houses over big chains. And absolutely don't come here expecting polished perfection. Roads can be bumpy, signage scarce, and English sparse outside cities. But that's the point. This is adventure wrapped in kindness. Georgia is on the edge of going big. The moment one Netflix series set a love story in Tbilisi, it's over. The place will explode. So if you crave authenticity before aesthetics, go now. Georgia is still real. Go while it still looks you in the eye and calls you by name. Now let's drift into a destination that feels like it was handcrafted for healing. The Azores, a volcanic floating in the middle of the Atlantic, quietly belonging to Portugal but spiritually belonging to those who crave quiet awe. If Iceland and Hawaii had a baby but raised it on herbal tea instead of Red Bull, it would be Azores. These islands are lush, misty, untouched, with emerald lakes, steaming hot springs, hydrangea-lined roads, and black sand beaches where you can walk for miles without hearing another voice. And the best part, nobody's fighting you for a sunset spot. Tourism is growing, especially among eco-travelers and digital nomads, but it's still in the phase where nature sets the rules, not tourism boards. The Azores are underrated because they don't scream for attention. There is no flashy nightlife, no mega resorts, no party strip. Instead, it's all whale watching before breakfast, geothermal cooked stews buried in the earth until perfectly tender, thermal pools under dripping ferns, and mornings where cows literally outnumber people in the fields. This is slow travel refined to an art form, not about doing but being. Accessibility is improving fast thanks to new direct flights from the US and Europe, making it way easier to reach than it was a few years ago. São Miguel, the largest island, has excellent infrastructure, car rentals, boutique hotels, farm stays, hiking trails with QR coded signs, while still feeling raw. The smaller islands like Pico and Flores are more isolated, perfect for travelers who want off-grid silence and stargazing nights. Ideal season, April to October. Blooming flowers, calmer seas, whale migration. Winter is rainy but soul-soothing if you want solitude. Costs are mid-range prices than mainland Portugal, far cheaper than Iceland. Fresh seafood for under $15, spa-like thermal pools for free or nearly free, and endless hiking that doesn't cost a dime. What I appreciate is how seriously the Azores protect their environment. Locals are proud of their sustainability model, strict building codes, eco-certifications, limited capacity tours, and the cultural mindset that says we share nature, we don't own it. As a visitor, the best way to honor that is stay on market trails, use reef-safe sunscreen, avoid plastic, book with local guides, and don't geotag tiny hidden spots that can handle mass traffic. The Azores have just entered the whisper phase of mainstream curiosity. Magazines are starting to write about it more. Influencers are dipping their toes in for moody drone shots, but it hasn't hit full viral momentum yet, which means you can still have the sacred silence. If you've been craving a place where your nervous system can finally excel, this is where you go before the world realizes how pure it is. If fairy tales were real and built in perfect environmental policy, that would look exactly like Slovenia, tucked quietly between Italy, Austria, Croatia, and Hungary. Slovenia is one of those places people think they've seen on Pinterest, but most have no clue how profoundly special it is. While millions flock to Venice or Dubrovnik each year, Slovenia remains beautifully uncrowded, affordable, incredibly safe, and deeply committed to sustainability. In 2025, it's exactly the kind of place travelers are yearning for: European charm without European chaos. Let's start with the showstopper, Lake Bled. Imagine a glass blue lake with mist floating across the surface at sunrise, frosted mountains in the background, and the tiny islands in the middle with a white church and ringing bell tower. You rent a wooden rowboat, paddle across like an old-time lover crossing for a proposal, ring the bell, make a wish, and suddenly it feels like you belong in a painting. That's Slovenia. It doesn't perform for you, it invites you in softly. But beyond Bled, there is so much depth. Ljubljana, the capital, is a dream. Pastel buildings, castle views, bicycles everywhere, riverside cafes lined with jazz musicians, and get this, the entire city center is car-free. That's how seriously Slovenia takes healthy living. The country has been repeatedly named one of the greenest in the world, with zero waste initiatives, protected forests, clean air, and farm-to-table food that isn't a trend, it's just how they live. Infrastructure is solid and growing, excellent buses and trains, scenic mountain roads, English widely spoken, tons of guest houses and boutique stays. But unlike more popular European hubs, Slovenia hasn't been overdeveloped. Family-owned still outnumber corporate hotels. Local farmers still sell honey and cheese on roadside stands. The best time to visit, May to September, for warm sunshine and wildflower hike through National Park. Autumn offers golden forest and grape harvest. Slovenia is a mini Tuscany. Winter has charming Christmas markets and skiing in Julian Alps without alpine price tags. Locals are quietly proud, not performative. They welcome travelers as long as you treat their land gently. Stick to trails, avoid feeding wildlife, learn a little thank you, and hi in Slovenia. Slovenia is small, but its charm is mighty. And here's the thing, it's on the brink. Every year, Lake Bled pops up in more travel ads. Croatia overflow is already spilling across the border. So now is the time, while it still feels like a secret garden rather than amusement park, because Slovenia is that rare gift, a place where nature, culture, and conscience coexist in harmony. And that harmony won't last forever once the masses arrive. And lastly, let's talk about the country that is about to shock the world when people finally catch on, Albania. Europe's best kept coastal secret, where the beaches look like Greece, the prices feel like Southeast Asia, and the crowds simply aren't there yet. If Croatia is the cool kid everyone found on TikTok, Albania is the quieter, equally gorgeous sibling still hiding in the corner, waiting to be discovered by someone with real taste. Stretching along the Ionian and Adriatic seas, the Albanian Riviera is packed with crystal clear turquoise water, white stone beaches, and dramatic cliffs. But instead of €200 beach club and $25 cocktails, you'll get $8 seafood platter, $20 beachfront guest houses, and sunbeds that cost less than an iced latte. It's widely underrated because for years Albania was misunderstood, associated with outdated stereotypes rather than its reality. One of the safest, friendliest, fast-growing travel destinations in Europe. In 2025, tourism is exhilarating due to low-cost airline routes, digital nomads moving into Tirana, and influencers finally making their way past the Croatia border. But it's still early enough that you'll often have entire covers to yourself. Infrastructure is improving, but still patchwork in parts. Major towns like Sarande, Xmil, and Himare have plenty of hotels, buses, car rentals, and seaside restaurants, while more remote beaches require dirt road adventures or boat rides. That's part of the charm. Albania still feels real. You'll see shepherds leading goats along the coast highways, and grandmas selling figs outside mini markets. The best time to visit is May to June or September, when the water is warm but the summer rush hasn't packed, and even peak season isn't that crowded yet compared to Spain or Italy. Ottoman towns covered in white stones and red roofs offer incredible history without tour bus overload. Locals are proud, hospitable, and deeply protective of their land. They want tourism, but not that kind that disrespect their culture. Dress appropriately in villages. Don't leave trash on beaches. Don't drive recklessly, and always ask before photographing people. Is Albania at risk of becoming the next Mykonos or next Dubrovnik? Absolutely. If mass tourism hits without regulation, it could be overbuilt fast. Which is why now is the sweet spot, after infrastructure, before oversaturation. If you've ever wished you could go back in time and experience Greece 30 years ago, Albania is the time machine. In part 2 of our two-part series, we'll continue exploring underrated travel destinations for 2025, diving into 5 more incredible hidden gems. Listeners will discover the spice-scented turquoise waters of Zanzibar, the tranquil Mekong landscapes of Laos, the dramatic cliffs and flower-filled levadas of Madeira, the Himalayan scenery and sacred culture of Bhutan, and the rolling vineyards and historic charm of Chile's valley. Each destination offers unique experiences, from spiritual immersion to adventurous exploration, serene natural beauty to cultural richness. Part 2 will guide travelers on when to visit, what to expect, local insights, responsible travel practices, and why now is the perfect time to explore these destinations before they become mainstream, completing your ultimate guide to hidden gems for the year ahead. And that wraps up part 1 of our two-part series on underrated travel destinations for 2025. We've journeyed through the colorful streets of Oaxaca, the mountains and monasteries of Georgia, and the lush islands of Azores, the fairy tale lakes of Slovenia, and the hidden Adriatic beaches of Albania. Each of these places is a reminder that travel can be meaningful, immersive, and transformative when approached with curiosity and care. As you think about your next adventure, remember that being an early explorer comes with responsibility. These destinations thrive because locals are preserving their culture, landscapes, and traditions. When you visit, you can make a difference by supporting family-run businesses, respecting local customs, minimizing your environmental impact, and taking time to really connect with the people and the land. This time, you help ensure that these places remain magical for future travelers. And don't worry, part 2 is coming soon, where we'll continue our journey with 5 more incredible destinations: Zanzibar, Laos, Madeira, Bhutan, and the Calchuga Valley in Chile. We'll explore spice-scented islands, serene rivers, dramatic cliffs, Himalayan serenity, and hidden wine country. All still under the radar for 2025. You won't want to miss it. Thank you so much for joining me on this first half of the journey. Until next time, stay curious, travel thoughtfully, and as always, keep chasing that pure bliss.